Before cobalt was discovered as a metal, miners found weird ores that lacked appreciable amounts of the metal they desired. Additionally, these ores were dangerous to smelt because they gave off arsenic. They named these cobalt ore. Eventually, in 1735, these ores were able to be reduced to a new metal, cobalt. Cobalt is the 27th element and is metallic gray in its pure form and sometimes bluish in its compound form. Fast forwarding to today, cobalt is used in manufacturing of lithium-ion batteries, jet or rocket engines, and medical applications. More importantly, cobalt is one of 35 minerals listed as critical minerals the U.S. economy can't go without. And with 50% of total cobalt mined being used for lithium-ion batteries, which look to grow exponentially, the hunger for cobalt is high. Cobalt's innate properties of thermal stability and high energy density make it a good choice for lithium-ion battery cathodes, of which it often composes anywhere from 10 to 30% of the cathode. With all this desire for cobalt, which only looks to grow, where is it coming from? Most often, cobalt is a byproduct of copper and nickel mining. The Central African Copper Belt is a major source of cobalt, representing over 50% of the global supply. More specifically, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, or the DRC, produces the lion's share of cobalt, again over 50% of the world's supply. However, mining operations in the DRC are plagued with issues, namely human rights violations, environmental damages, child labor, government corruption, that's just to name a few. Additionally, any economic slowdowns in the DRC could majorly disrupt the global supply of cobalt. With all these problems, and they are serious ones, big changes to the cobalt mining industry are long overdue. With large companies like Tesla requiring a large supply of cobalt, reducing their dependence on DRC cobalt is a high priority. And since cobalt is the most expensive material in the battery, it could save them a little money too. One way to reduce dependence on DRC cobalt is to mine cobalt in North America. While cobalt isn't a rare earth metal, it isn't found just everywhere in the United States. To extract cobalt profitably, it must be mined in a high-grade deposit. Currently, some areas this occurs at are in Alaska, California, Idaho, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, North Carolina, New Mexico, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, and Tennessee, which seems like a lot. Additionally, it's possible cobalt deposits exist elsewhere but haven't been discovered yet. But just knowing the location of high-grade cobalt deposits isn't enough. Mining operations have to be set up. Current North American mining companies include Jervois' Idaho Cobalt Project, Michigan Eagle Mine, Missouri Cobalt, and even Canadian-based First Cobalt. With these companies working to establish cobalt mines, let's talk about the progress that they've made. The Idaho Cobalt Project projects that their mine will contain about 50 million pounds of cobalt, and their production looks set to begin in late 2021. While the Idaho Cobalt Project isn't currently producing any ore, they had originally intended to produce cobalt ore a few years back. However, the ownership of the mine has changed hands a few times, but now they are on track for production in 2021. Another contender is the Michigan Eagle Mine, and they are currently mining nickel and copper, and cobalt is one of their smaller byproduct metals. While the Michigan Eagle Mine is currently producing cobalt, mining cobalt was not the original intended purpose of this mine. However, over in Iron Creek, another mine in the Idaho Cobalt Belt, First Cobalt has drilled extensive exploratory estimate mines, and they estimate that their Iron Creek project will contain about 27 million pounds of cobalt. And lastly, Missouri Cobalt is currently cleaning up their environment from an old lead mine at its Madison mine in preparation for establishing its next mining operation, which is expected to contain about 35 million pounds of cobalt. With all these mining operations springing up, the ore will need to be processed and refined to extract high-grade cobalt. Currently, China refines the large majority of cobalt, but possible trade tensions could disrupt the supply chain of cobalt to US-based companies. Also, it would make more sense to refine cobalt mined in North America, further reducing transportation costs and environmental impacts. However, we will explore cobalt refining in a future video. Another way to reduce cobalt dependence is reducing the amount of cobalt used in batteries in the first place and replacing it with other metals like nickel. For example, from a Verge interview in 2018, Tesla and Panasonic had reduced the amount of cobalt by about 60% and have likely driven it down even further since then. When reducing the cobalt content of battery cells, a few challenges and problems exist. Since cobalt provides thermal stability to the battery, reducing the amount of cobalt can lead to higher cell temperatures and reduced cell life cycles if not managed properly. Additionally, low cobalt recipes often require a special dry environment during manufacturing. The typical battery cathodes using cobalt are NCA, which stands for nickel cobalt aluminum, and NMC, nickel manganese cobalt. Other groups and teams of researchers are looking to develop an ultra-low cobalt chemistry, but none have come up with a replacement yet. In the future, cobalt could be drastically reduced or even completely eliminated from lithium-ion batteries. For proof, in a 2018 tweet, Elon Musk said that their next-gen batteries used in their Tesla vehicles will use no cobalt. With Tesla Battery Day coming up in September of 2020, the future of Tesla batteries could be revealed, potentially with no cobalt formulas. Furthermore, in a recent earnings call, Elon Musk begged anyone producing nickel to give Tesla a call and that they would give them funding. However, a similar statement for cobalt was not issued, hinting that Tesla will have drastically reduced its dependence on cobalt. But even if Tesla eliminates its need for cobalt, cobalt will still be a very useful metal. While the previously mentioned companies are opening up mining operations on land, a company called DeepGreen Metals is looking to harvest rocks that are almost entirely cobalt or manganese off the ocean floor. They are currently developing their technology and assessing the environmental impact to the ocean floor ecosystem. However, they could reduce the amount of ore necessary to produce 1 kilogram of cobalt by up to 10 times. See the Fully Charged podcast in the description for more in-depth discussion. It's really cool, but it's also really long. Ultimately, the future of cobalt looks likely to change. Some companies like Tesla will reduce their dependence on it, other companies will mine it ethically in North America, and yet other companies may pull it up from the seafloor. Additionally, companies and research teams are racing to produce cobalt-free battery chemistries. But until they create an equivalent or superior battery chemistry, perhaps different types of batteries will be used for short and long-range models of EVs. And lastly, battery recycling, which I covered in a previous video, could create a circular cobalt supply chain and reduce dependence on new cobalt ore. Okay, that's it for this RapidREV video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Do you think Tesla will unveil a long-range cobalt-free battery? Or will land-based mining or deep-sea mining dominate in the long term? And what about cobalt demand? Will it exceed supply in the next couple of years? If you have any other thoughts or ideas for videos, also leave it in the comments too. Also, please check out the Twitter to get more frequent updates on technology content. Also, check out the Discord. I want to shout out Yo Moss for joining the Discord. Please check it out. The link is in the description, and look forward to build a community of people that like to talk about technology. And lastly, if you like this content and you want to support the channel, please check out my Patreon. It is in the description, and I have made a whole bunch of different tiers to help make donations accessible to anybody watching this channel. So thank you, please check it out. And with that, have an awesome day.